Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now March 6th of 2023. We just have a couple of more days to go until Chapter 18 of The Mandalorian Season 3 arrives for Disney+. That's really going to give Star Wars fans a new look into characters like Bo-Katan, Grogu, and a whole lot more. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing that a lot of fans have really been invested in has a lot to do with the fact of what's been going on with key sequences related to The Mandalorian as a whole. We do know that Jon Favreau and Dave have already pretty much finished the script of The Mandalorian Season 4. They're making some tweaks here and there. Some rewrites are in play as we speak to kind of fine-tune the story because they want to get things rolling by either the end of this summer into early fall to begin filming for Mando 4 because they do want to try to get this thing out by holiday season of 2024. Now that brings us to Kathleen Kennedy. Now, we know that Kathleen Kennedy has been a very interesting subject for the past number of months now, given that Disney board members do want to fire her by this August. In the meantime, Kathleen Kennedy is looking for an escape route before that even happens, basically going out on her own terms and, quitting from Lucasfilm on her own and to make it as if she was not really fired. She's trying to beat that and kind of make that happen before Disney happens to fire her. So that brings us to what Kathleen Kennedy had to actually surprisingly say about that, about herself leaving Lucasfilm, and it may come off as quite surprising to a lot of fans. So let's tap right into exactly what she herself had to say about all of this. Now, right now, Disney board members are scrambling for a remedy to solve many issues with shows like ACOLYTE and Skeleton Crew that Kathleen Kennedy created so many problems for. However, in a recent interview that Kennedy got involved in, she went on to respond to a big question involving her departure at Lucasfilm by stating the following to fans. Well, I look at it this way. We all have backup plans for a reason, right, in this industry. There are always studios looking for a new vision and for a new path to take in order to succeed, and sometimes that takes getting a new leader to take care of that vision. I would love to openly say that I don't plan on staying here forever, no, and that I have great ambitions after Lucasfilm over, of course, me. I have really exciting things that I am working on after I am done here and working on Star Wars and have no intentions of retiring from the film industry. So let me just pause here quick. Now, what she's basically saying is that she does have a plan to step down from Lucasfilm eventually and to embrace something new. What is this new thing that Kathleen Kennedy is embracing? Well, it is exactly what we have been talking about. Basically what it is it's a studio called Starlight Productions that she's creating. That's just the code name, by the way. That's not the official name. And it's going to become a competitor. It's going to be a sci-fi focused studio that puts out movies and TV shows. It's supposed to be a competitor against Star Wars, Star Trek, and Dune. Now, again, take a moment to think about this. You would think Disney higher-ups would be absolutely offended over that and very furious over that for Kathleen Kennedy creating a studio to compete against their own brand. Now, who knows, maybe that is why they're trying to get rid of her by this August, but her contract is very much complicated. It would really take a lot of money to bail her out quickly, and so when you look at stuff like this, given that Kathleen Kennedy does have a backup plan and has a plan to get out herself before Disney gets to her, that would mean that she would have to, if Disney sticks to their plan for August, that she would have to get out before August to pretty much avoid getting fired and sticking with that stigma for the rest of her life, right? So, obviously, Kathleen Kennedy does not want that moment where she's let go from Disney. She doesn't want to see that. However, we do know that Bob Iger, we talked about this, that in the beginning he wanted to actually cover it up, that Kathleen Kennedy will be stepping down voluntarily once he fires her to kind of prevent any kind of studio drama or anything like that among the fans, and to kind of shift away from encouraging, people to kind of create all this drama once Kathleen's fired. So Bob Iger wanted to avoid that. That was one of his strategies that seems to have went sour. We haven't really heard much about that anymore because board members were getting very angry with Bob Iger about all of that. Pretty much, giving her that golden parachute. But anyways, on top of this, she goes on to elaborate. I just love it and the creative drive it gives me as a person when it comes to filmmaking. Star Wars has been a big, difficult task for me as a producer and had its ups and downs, and sometimes that can be very stressful. I know Disney is looking for ways to evolve Lucasfilm's leadership, and that's nothing really I want to go into right now, but I will say this, that dealing with this fandom has been a tough one. You have ones that root for you, and those that try to dismantle your creative vision. But to answer the question more simply, yes, I don't plan on staying here forever, and I do have some big plans for the future beyond Star Wars and beyond Lucasfilm. But that's about as far as I will go right now with all of that, and I hope everyone enjoys the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew once we get those projects out and finished. Now, 3 things I do want to focus on real quick is that Disney, of course, is still en route for firing her by this August, alright? That's still a big plan by Disney. They want to make it happen. They are in the works of making this happen. It all dwindles down to who takes over as the new president. So far, so good, because at the top of the list, it is Dana Brunetti right now, who is aimed to become the new Lucasfilm president. It doesn't seem like he has a busy schedule, like Ron Howard did, and like how David Heyman eventually did. Those two were going to be the replacements, but they ended up getting very caught up with work. So hopefully Dana Brunetti stays on track for that, because I think that he's a perfect fit. We talked about this a couple days ago, but Brunetti actually made an entire film dedicated to Star Wars fans. It's called Fanboys. Check it out. It released like in the early 2000s, I believe, or the late 2000s. So obviously, the next thing I do want to actually bring forward here is that Kennedy is still having trouble with the Acolyte, but what's even all the more surprising is that she even got into some creative differences with Leslie Headland, of all people. Now, we know that Leslie is very much like Kathleen Kennedy. She does not care about fans. She's only about pushing an agenda, stuff like that, alright? And so, when you look at an avenue that Kennedy and Leslie are trying to take, it really is about retconning the prequels, which is something that they too are looking forward to doing. That's one thing that I think a lot of fans are very skeptical about right now. And let's not forget that Kennedy is initiating more reshoots for the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, creating more problems behind closed doors. So it's a never-ending process, and that's exactly why Disney just wants to rid of the negativity, just wants to rid of the problematic situations that keep on, sprouting over at the sets of Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, and just be done with it all. Anyways, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you guys have to say about all of this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.